I have to say the most valuable thing has been for me to create a degen chat with some close friends who are also day trading and also chasing airdrops because things are going so fast at the
Mm.
speed of light and it's so easy to miss something and just totally forget about this launch here and this pre-sale there. And so I was able to get into the bone pre-sale because a couple people reminded me in the chat. It's mostly like a team effort with a bunch of friends.
All right, we are live. Hello,
Nice.
everyone. Today, our guest is Joelle, who is an NFT photographer. Well, I don't think NFT photographer is the right word. He's a photographer using NFTs as a medium to distribute her photography. And she's also a trader, a crypto trader, meme coin trader, investor. I don't know how she describes that, but welcome, Joelle. Exciting to talk to you today.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
No, my pleasure. I've been following you for a while. I think first I wrote about you in my newsletter because I was researching a bit about photographers in the space, and I found your some of your photos. And more recently, I started to notice you were having a lot of success trading meme coins, trading different sort of artifacts online. So I'm very curious about both aspects and how you combine them, right? Because it's very different, right? Being a photographer and then being a trader. So maybe
You could
can you
say it's
tell us
very different indeed, yeah.
a bit about you, Joelle, for those that don't know you? How did you get into this space? Anything you want to share before coming to crypto?
um, so before joining the NFT community, I was actually a food photographer and I developed vegan recipes for brands. So I also did like some food styling and I had a recipe blog. Well, it was like a health blog. I'm a bit of a health freak. So I was studying plant medicine and trying to share my knowledge and recipes with the vegan and wellness community. But I'm also an avid hiker, and I moved to the Canadian Rockies. I was living in my van over there for I want to say 7 years. I was like moving around quite a bit between Banff and Vancouver Island because it's a lot more mild in the winter there, and you can actually live in a vehicle. It's not freezing temperatures. Um, but so I was in the wilderness all the time, and I started taking photos just for fun. I had a camera, so might as well. And then I started hanging out with fellow photographers, and all my circle of friends there ended up being landscape photographers. So I kind of got into it before NFTs. But my friend Kath, who I'm sure everyone knows, Kath
Can,
Simon,
mm,
um, she was just constantly talking about NFTs. She wouldn't shut up. At the beginning, I was like, "You are so annoying. Can you just like
eh,
change the
when
subject?"
was this? Which year was this?
2021.
Okay.
So every time we'd go hiking or hang out, she was just talking about Clubhouse and NFTs and stuff. And I'm very cautious with, my consumer habits when it comes to environmental issues. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of information about NFTs and crypto in general. And so the very little information I found said that NFTs were destroying the environment. And so in the beginning, I was very against it. And then I eventually gave Kat the benefit of the doubt. She was very insistent and she kept sending me articles to prove me wrong and she wouldn't let it go. So eventually I kind of came to the conclusion that it kind of felt like there was no real scientific data to back the claims. And it just, I was under the impression there was more lobbies and the central bank just
Mhm.
trying to prevent people from really
Yeah.
going more towards crypto and NFTs. So I joined the NFT community in I think it was July, yeah, mid July, early July 2021, and I did really well. I was very surprised. I wasn't really expecting much in the beginning, and we kind of all joined together. My group of friends. It was Kat, obviously, and then she onboarded my friend Monica Jalali and Jenna Dixon, and I don't know. It was just like a little group of us in the Rockies doing this together. So it was like really fun. We like supported each other, and we went shooting
And you
in
were
the
sharing your photos, right? So you
yeah.
were okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I completely abandoned food photography because, to be honest, I was kind of tired of being in the kitchen all day. I'm pretty hyperactive. I need to move. I need to spend energy. So, if I could get paid to share photos that I take outside, it was like big plus.
Food photography. So how does that work? So you were taking photos of your own food and sharing that, or you were doing it commercially for magazines or other
No,
people?
I so basically brands would send me their ingredients and I had to
Mm.
create recipes using those ingredients. And then I would have to take photos and send it to them along with the recipe most of the time so that they could either share it on their Instagram or blog or at some food fairs or something
Okay.
like that. Some use it as branding
Okay.
and labeling. Anyway, that kind of stuff.
Mm. But you had experience doing digital kind of digital marketing then, right? Because you were doing that.
I grew my Instagram page pretty quickly when I was sharing food photos. Initially, it's not growing much these days, so I kind of abandoned Instagram.
Mm.
But initially, before they changed the algorithm, I was like getting 250 followers a day for a while, and so I was doing really well doing that. I didn't really need to quit, but I just found shooting landscape much
Yeah.
more rewarding and probably better for my inner peace. So
Hmm.
I was happy to transition towards that. And to be honest, when I joined the NFT community, I was stuck in a pretty abusive relationship. So I had moved to Victoria with my ex, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And all my friends were trying to urge me to move back to the Rockies. So I was pretty happy to get away from the apartment because during COVID it was a lot worse. We
Mm.
were stuck together 24/7, and it just like kind of spiraled out of control. And so it was a good excuse to leave and go on trips with my friends, and so that's kind of how it started. And then I don't know, I was like in the beginning of well, in the middle of the bull run, I think, and so after that, everyone was just selling nonstop, and I kept going until the bear market hit, and then
Yeah. Yeah, and then the bear market hit, and that's when you started to explore trading. So how did you get into trading? Because it's very different. Yeah, for artists, and maybe you know other artists doing something like similar, kind of spending time trading. But I'm curious, how did you get into trading? Where like your first experiences, with meme coins or crypto in general, not from an artistic point of view.
Uh, prior to being a food photographer, I was actually a financial advisor. So I know I didn't look like this. So the tattoos came after. But I went to business school and then I started working at my dad's financial services firm. And he was hoping I would take over the business when he retires in a few years. And unfortunately, I got into a car accident on my way to clients, and it just kind of made it very difficult for me to be on the road. I was getting
Mm,
pretty bad anxiety. So I was on medical leave for so long. And in the end, I just realized like maybe I need to do something creative again because before being a financial advisor, I spent, I want to say maybe 12 to 15 years in the fashion industry.
mm,
Um, I was doing mostly fashion and shoe design, but I got scammed with the factory I was doing business with in Mexico, and I just lost so much money. Just like everything I worked hard for, just gone overnight. So when my dad, I was already in business school to manage my business at the time. And so my dad just, offered to pay for the 2 additional semesters I'd need to do with the additional courses I was missing to join his firm. And so I was like, you know what? I'm tired of like constantly like not knowing if I'm going to pay my bills. Like the fashion industry is just nonstop. You can't really take breaks. It's very fast paced. And I was looking for a little change at the time. So I did that for a few years, and then after my medical leave, I ended up converting a van into a camper, and
Mm,
that was my therapist's recommendation. By the way, he is amazing.
mm,
It changed my life. So my therapist at the time was like, "You seem really unhappy, not knowing what to do with your time. I'm very hyperactive, so like this is my worst nightmare, not having a goal or a plan or anything."
mm,
So he's like, "Why don't you just like, you know, convert a van and go spend time in nature? Like you feel really good in nature." And I was like, "Huh, yeah, this is great."
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I did that, and I moved in my van with my old cat, who sadly passed away a couple of years back. But I was going hiking with my cat like every day, and we were just having a really good time, and just taking photos of nature,
Mm-hmm.
hiking, and eventually I just got bored. I started posting my food photos on Instagram, and it just took off for some reason. Like
Yeah.
brands started reaching out to me to ask me to take photos for them, and that's how I became a photographer, basically.
Yeah. No, and I think you have two important elements if you think about crypto and trading in crypto. So you were already a big scam when you were younger, right? So you kind of had that alarm, like that alarm system in your head for detecting crypto scams, right? And rocks. And also you were studying business and you had experience with numbers, right? And maybe that also influenced your ability, right? To I think those two things are very important when trading, right? How did you get into crypto trading?
Yes, I want to say I did have a background in finance. However, crypto trading, well, crypto in general is very, very different. I don't feel like it's given me necessarily an advantage because the information you need to make good decisions is not entirely based off your understanding of financial markets. It's more about culture, what's going on, trends, and just understanding projects and knowing what's coming in the next few months and keeping track of everything. And so, if you know that, I don't know, for example, I when the trend with the politician, the meme coins with politicians
Yeah,
like Bowden, Trump, whatever,
yeah.
when that started, I could see it took off. So I was looking on BonkBot, and the minute I saw Putney, which is
Mm,
like for Putin, I had a feeling it was gonna just explode like the rest of them, and so I think I got like a 20x from that. And
mm,
so it's more about knowing what's going on, culture wise, and
yeah.
kind of keeping an eye on everything. And I say this, and like last cycle, I did not do that well with
Hmm.
this. I really took the time to dive into it during the bear market because I felt like once things start going really fast, it's not the best time to start learning. You need to
Hmm.
act really fast, and you need to know what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you need to test all the tools and stuff. So I decided to start doing that last year, and I feel like it was a very smart move because I don't think I would be able to trade right now um, and do
Learn.
well because
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends who tried and they're not making money.
So which tool? So when I think about trading, and I'm not a trader, right? I'm kind of luck. It's all based on luck, and it's hard for me to invest the amount of time needed, right, to do it properly. But I'm what I do is I check, normal, what's the name? Like I do Uniswap, and I have the different decks with the charts, and I kind of keep track of my coins on Uniswap and do it mostly on Ethereum. But what are like the tools that you think are kind of key for you, or that you spend a lot of time in? And also, do you do it across different blockchains, or do you focus on one blockchain?
Well, to be honest, like I don't really do day trading these days because I find it really taxing on the nervous system. Like
Mm,
my adrenals are completely destroyed
yeah.
from I've been going really hard since I want to say late November, early December. So I think at times I was in front of my computer, just high adrenaline, high dopamine for maybe 12 to 16 hours a day, like
Hmm.
7 days a week sometimes, often.
Wow.
And so it's really not healthy. I don't necessarily recommend it. It's
Mm.
just I felt like it was going to be a great opportunity that I would probably not ever have again. I don't think I see myself going through like trading during another bull run. Like I'm 42 now, so I'm going to be in my late 40s next bull run. I don't think I'm going to want to do day trading. I was using BonkBot quite a bit. I was trading a lot on Solana because ETH trading, I feel, and this is my personal opinion, it's just when I started, I couldn't trade with like high amounts. So for me, it didn't make sense to trade on ETH because the fees are so high.
Mm.
And it just, last cycle, what people did is they bought coins and they left it there for a while. But I find that this cycle, people are behaving in very different ways. I feel like things are going so fast. People are very quick to ditch projects and move on to the next shiny thing, probably because there are so many chains to trade on, as opposed to last cycle, it was mostly
Mm.
on ETH.
Hmm.
Um, at least to me, like maybe I'm unaware, but so yeah, I when I started hearing about Solana meme coins, I got into it and I realized like, oh, there's like literally no fees; they're so low, so you can get in and out really quickly. But it's also
It's more
making,
explosive, right? Because I had the Trump
yeah,
meme coin, and it was fine, but I think it was Trump or Jaden, the
Bowden.
Jaden, yeah, but yeah, that one. But it crashed like in 10 minutes or something. Like 60% went down. It was like, wow, this is just too fast. And but yeah, you're right. You're right that Solana was kind of a different, had its own
It
thing
still
going
is.
on.
And
Mhm.
by the way, Trump broke all time high like yesterday, or I
Wow.
think it was yesterday.
Yeah,
It's
I don't have
ripping. I
Trump.
don't think Bowden's doing that well right now, but so yeah, I started using Jupiter, Radium, and BonkBot quite a bit. So Radium I really don't like because it's lagging. It's not very fast. Jupiter, I like that you can set up some sell orders, buy and sell orders. So you don't have to be in front of your computer all the time. So what I would do is just kind of track a couple coins and set it up. So like, okay, so if this coin dips below this amount, then I'm gonna automatically buy, I don't know, like 5 SOL worth of it. Same goes the other way. Like
Uh,
if this hits this amount, I'm gonna sell all of it or half or something like that. So
okay.
that's kind of good if you don't want to be in front of your computer all day. And
Mm.
Bonkbot, I used it a lot to find new tokens, but this is very, very volatile, very risky. Most new tokens that are launched are going to zero. Well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of crypto anyway. Like a lot of it is going to zero. It's just a matter of when. So, it's all a game of hot potato. Who's going to get stuck with it in the end? But I think if there's like something I learned from last cycle is to maybe be happy with like smaller gains.
Mm.
Because I think initially we were all sold the dream like, oh, 100x. And that has happened to me once. And it was because I did the pre sale of Bohm.
Okay. And that was a huge one, right?
It was a good one. And you know what happened? I messed up. Most of us messed up because we had been so used to Sol coins just like ripping and then going to zero so fast that we were happy taking a 20x.
Yeah.
And so a lot of us took profits way too soon. And instead of making a 6 figure, we made 5 figure. And so, I mean, it's still really good.
Mm.
It's still really
Yeah.
good. I'm not complaining, but it's
But
just,
that
you
was
never
a
know.
special one, right? That was a special
Yeah.
kind of an outlier, I think, right?
It
The
was the first one that did like a successful pre sale.
hmm.
And I think after that, so many projects tried to replicate it and they all pretty much failed.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, it was like, that was the one.
Yeah. And what are you happy with these days? Taking X5 or even lower than that, or what would you say?
uh, It really depends, but I would say I'm happy with 3 to 5x now,
Okay.
and when it pumps, I will take profits and swap it back to Sol, and then kind of keep an eye on the chart, and I might buy back in when if it dips like low enough. Otherwise, I just put it into other projects or I hold Solana. I think Solana is going to do well regardless, but I don't know. It requires like nobody really knows, you
Yeah.
know. We all
Yeah.
think we know, but we don't. Like
There is no
something can
science.
happen. Something can happen overnight, and a coin can go to zero because the founder got caught doing something really messed up, you know. And just like this is not something you can anticipate.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. No, that's I mean, it's quite interesting. I kind of would like to explore those tools on Solana. And we have been talking about your trading, and I think I was reading your tweets, and I think you recently purchased a house, right? So congrats on the
Thank
on
you.
that. And so is that because of your trading, like parts of your earnings, so you put it that into the house? Would you say that trading helped you to buy your house, right?
Well, it's not a house. It's a home. It's an
Mm.
apartment.
Okay.
Um, but yes and no, because what happened during the bear market is I started experimenting with AI quite a bit,
Mhm.
and so I it was kind of tough in the beginning because I'm a photographer and the photography community is tends to be very heavily against AI, and in the beginning there was a lot of drama and chaos around that. And so people who dared to experiment with AI were just often had to deal with like bullying and getting attacked, and it was getting really heavy, especially on Twitter. And so I started sharing my AI stuff because I was excited. Like I started playing with Midjourney. I was like, wow, this is cool. Like
Mm.
I can recreate so many concepts I have in my mind, but I don't have the budget to execute. And it just made me feel more creative, and I don't know, I was happy to share because I was having fun, and then I got attacked so bad it just like made me stop wanting to share. But when I was sharing,
Mm.
I think I shared a couple stories on Instagram of my really weird AI art. And this guy replied to me, and he was super inspired by what I was sharing, and he offered me a job to do AI content creation for his projects in the tourism industry.
Mm.
And it turns out that he's doing pretty big projects, like multi-million-dollar projects, and he just needs some content. He doesn't care if it's photography. He just like it's mostly for internal documents, applying for grants with the governments, that kind of stuff, to just kind of create a mood board
Mm.
based off like the client's needs. And so I started doing that with him, and uh, turned out it was very lucrative, and that kept me alive during the bear market.
Mhm.
And so right now we worked so well together that he asked me to be his co-founder for his lodge slash art residence project up north here in Quebec by the ocean. It's
Nice.
a pretty big project that it's totally right up my alley. That's kind of something I've been wanting to do, create a little, tiny home permaculture art community in nature. So I was like, yes, sign me up. And so he's hiring me full time for 2 years,
Okay.
um, so we can work on that together. So I would say it's mostly that, but I am hoping to use my my trading profits to pay a big portion of the
Yeah.
home I'm buying.
Okay. Okay. No, that's quite exciting. So you will be running these. So you will be curating art. Is that right? And any particular kind of art, or is it very flexible? Is it photography, AI art, gen art?
We're going to be very flexible, but I don't know if I'm going to be personally curating
Mm.
because I feel like I'm going to have a lot on my plate. And last time I took on an exhibition project, I couldn't even do the curation because I was so busy. So we're kind of hoping to to start with a project in Web3 where we're going to host regular exhibitions. And so I want to say any kind of art is going to be welcome. um, I don't want to focus on one particular type, but it's just like for the art residencies, I think we're going to have to really see what kind of gear and material we're able to provide for artists. So I think it's going to be more limiting based off that. Like I don't see us building a music record like a music recording studio. I'm not exactly sure yet to be
Yeah.
determined, but we're going to try to encourage like various styles of art, and we're going to try to push native artists as well, because there's a really big indigenous community in the area where we want to set up. After I move into my new place in 2 weeks,
Mm.
we're going to go on a 2 week road trip in the area where we want to develop. And so we're going to be looking at land and landscape to see where it would be ideal for us to set up this project. So we have a general idea of where it's going to be. It's in the Sept-Îles area. It's about 7 hours north of Montreal
Mm.
on the coast. So it's right in front of the ocean. We can see the whales from the shore. It's really beautiful. From what
Mm.
I heard, I've never been there, but all my friends have told me that it's really gorgeous. So I'm pretty excited. It's going to be a very long project. That's why we wanted to start. I convinced my partner to start with a Web3
Mm-hmm.
project first, because we do want to onboard people. I've been feeling like we kind of got it wrong, when it comes to NFTs. It feels like the focus was on NFTs, and then we tried onboarding Web 2 to NFTs, but I kind of feel like it should have been the other way around. Like we should have maybe focused on physicals with a Web 3 component on the
Mm.
blockchain,
Yeah.
if we wanted to onboard like the masses. But
Yes.
I don't think this is really where it's been at. And so this is kind of what we're going to try to change, have like gallery exhibitions in person, and then encourage people to support artists by creating a wallet and then minting some editions or something like that. We're not quite sure yet. I just feel like it's too small of a community, and there's so much more potential if we take it to Web 2 instead of trying to get Web 2 to come to us. But this is
Yeah.
obviously my opinion.
Yeah, and I've been to some events, and so for example, my girlfriend went with me to Bright Moments, and it was the first time she experienced NFTs, and she was really excited about minting and the whole experience. And she, she's very happy now with her wallet and holding art. But I've been doing this for 3 years, and she never cared about NFTs on a screen, But then we went there, and she actually saw the nice frames. She saw the artists. She minted their life, and it was completely different, right? So I agree that the physical aspect, and also meeting people, talking to other people, maybe getting explain things by people that are familiar with it in a physical way, in a conversation, is much better than doing it alone and getting MetaMask or whatever. It's just too complicated for people that are not into technology. So that sounds very exciting. When is it going to start, Joel? You have a date already for the first. You still have to
um,
pick the place, right?
Well, we are kind of hoping to host our crypto art exhibition at Art Basel.
Mm.
I'm going to see if we can make it happen. I've already organized, well, co-hosted, organized 5-day NFT photography exhibition in New York a while back, and that went really well. And I was kind of missing it. Like I really enjoy helping artists more than I enjoy promoting my own work.
Mm. Yeah.
And so I was gonna apply for some grants to build a project from the ground, and we were looking into base. I don't know if we're gonna get a base grant. We'll see what happens. But
Mm.
so yeah, we want to build a platform to start hosting exhibitions on it before we integrate it to our large project, because that's going to take quite some time to build. It's a multi-million-dollar project, so we're going to need funding and permits and
Mm.
all this kind of stuff. So that would probably not happen for another year and a half or two. So we're going to build the art program before, so we have the structure and the setup. to start right away once we get that going.
Sounds exciting. And
Yeah.
Basel, when you say Basel, you mean Miami? Our Basel,
Yes.
Miami? Yeah, I'm going to our Basel, our Basel in Basel next week. No, next month. So first time there, but I've been to Miami for our Basel, and it was, I mean, a lot of side events. So it's a great moment, right? Because a lot of people travel and interested in art to do this sort of thing. So sounds very
I like
exciting.
Art Basel quite a bit. It's not just NFT oriented, so it's been very inspiring to go there, and I like the vibe of that event quite a bit.
Yeah, totally, totally. You mentioned bass, Joelle. So I wonder, what are your thoughts on bass, both from an artist point of view? Have you been minting there? Have you minted works from other artists? And also in terms of trading, what are your thoughts on the meme coins and the different coins?
I really like what Base is doing. I am a fan. I have minted quite a lot of free mints
Mhm.
so far through Farcaster, supporting people on Zora or on their manifold smart contracts.
Mm.
So I do think I find it really interesting because, like, obviously, to me, coming from selling art on ETH, this whole like low priced edition
Yeah,
work and free mints is a whole different game to me. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around it to kind of figure out how that's going to affect ETH prices.
yeah,
Because obviously, like some artists sold for pretty high amounts last cycle,
yeah.
and we don't want to upset collectors who are still around and devalue or floor that kind of stuff. So my perspective on base is that it has incredible potential, but maybe more for applications or projects outside
Hmm.
of Web3 who are looking to integrate and join like blockchain technology, just integrate it to their process and
Yeah.
system. Like we're talking with, well, obviously we're in the tourism industry, so we're talking to people from tourism boards who have like a lot of interest. They just don't know how to get
Oh.
started, and so we're gonna probably start doing consultation with that. So I feel like Base has like really great potential, especially with the smart wallet.
Hmm.
I signed up for. I was talking with the base team at Farcon, and they had me sign up for a smart wallet. I was blown away. It literally took like 20 seconds, and it was super simple. And I feel like for people who were intimidated by crypto, who don't know how to manage wallets, they don't want to have like these complicated, keys and
Yeah,
whatever seed phrases to remember. It's gonna help a lot.
yeah, yeah,
So I'm pretty bullish on what they're building, and low cost transactions also I think is really great.
yeah. No, I agree. I've been having a lot of fun in Base and Farcaster and all these sort of new applications. I agree. It's a little bit tricky from an artist's point of view. There is a big debate now with the free mint, right? And how do artists handle that? As you mentioned, there are artists that are sold uh, for a lot of money, and how do we not upset collectors? And I feel like there are some artists that can kind of play with these free mints and build some sort of mechanism to incentivize collectors, and maybe do like Xcopy, right? That he has this burning thing and has some sort of airdrops from time to time, but it's based on volume, which means for this to be sustainable, they need to have huge audiences, right? And we're talking about thousands of mints. So yeah, it's a lot of work, and yeah, some people aren't that happy about it. I feel like it depends how you handle it, but it's for sure better for distribution. Right now, many artists can distribute their art and have collectors, right? Which is kind of hard if you think about it. But yeah, base, I like what's happening there. What about the art on Solana? Since you're familiar with Solana, Joel, is there anything happening there? Anything we should look at? Because I'm not very familiar. I would like to be more active on Solana. What's your experience with the art?
So I have pieces on Exchange.
Hmm.
I really like exchange art. They're coming up with a token soon, they said, just so you know. And again, it was just like lower priced than ETH. So I feel like Solana was really great during the bear market, like towards the end. So people who weren't really making sales on ETH could make some lower priced sales on Solana.
Hmm.
And now, like you were saying, also the free mints I think are a wonderful tool for artists who did not have the same level of success last cycle, or are just joining now. Or it also depends. I don't like to, like, you can't speak for everyone at the same
Yeah.
time. Everyone is different, and we're all building a different audience and collector base, and we don't have the same expenses. So somebody who's living in a poor country is going to be loving it,
Yeah.
because it's accessible income, and like you said, it's volume. So I've seen a lot of people do really well with those free mints, and good for them. Like, that's awesome. Like, I saw some people making like a couple $100 or even thousand
Hmm.
on one free mint. So I think it's going to be important to diversify and try different chains this cycle. I think it's going to be heading towards that. It already it has been. So Solana, Base, Sora.
Yeah.
I think it's, to me at least, it's just a matter of having a strategy. Because if I personally start minting the same kinds of photos I was minting on ETH, then why would somebody pay more money on ETH than
Hmm.
when they can get my free mint, right? So I started minting my abstract AI art instead, and I'm making physicals with that. Like, I made this iPhone case.
Ah, nice.
I made cushions. I made a bunch of different things like laptop cases and such. So I'm personally, this is my strategy. I'm using it for something entirely different that I'm not
Mm.
minting on ETH. So I think the opportunities are wonderful. There's like so much potential to experiment with different chains, but yeah, I'm mostly like on ETH, Solana, and then a little bit on Base and Zora.
Same here, except I'm also on Tesos and not
I
so
was
much
as
on
well. I forgot
mm,
about that. Yeah.
Tesos. Yeah, yeah, they're coming with a new tech. It's kind of an L2, and yeah, I'm curious about it. Let's see how it goes. It should be compatible with EVMs, so with the other chains. So I'm interested in that. I think it's still a couple of months away, but it'll be interesting. Exciting. Thanks so much, Joel, for sharing your journey. I just have, I like to ask artists that join if they could share three artists that inspire their practice or what they are doing. Could be digital, could be from the past. And in your case, I will also like to know what are the sources you follow when it comes to trading meme coins. What are some good accounts or you know if you I mean it's tough. I know you don't want to reveal your secrets, but
No, I don't mind. I actually have the mindset of like, I like sharing. I have
Mm,
been sharing so much of like all the airdrop information I'm getting. I want everyone to win. I feel like it's not very Web3 to just want to like
mm,
keep things for yourself. Like, if all the homies can make a bag,
mm,
good for everyone. I have to say the most valuable thing has been for me to create a degen chat with some close friends who are also day trading and also chasing airdrops, because things are going so fast at the
mm,
speed of light, and it's so easy to miss something and just totally forget about this launch here and this pre-sale there. And so I was able to get into the bone pre-sale because a couple people reminded me in the chat. Um and also, like, there are people like Mooncat and CC2 who share pretty valuable information on what's currently going on and current trends and tokens launching and things like that. But it's kind of tough because, like, I wouldn't say there's like specific people I follow. I just make lists,
mhm,
and then every morning I'll have my coffee and I check my lists. and I'll just like browse and see like, okay, what's going on. I made lists for airdrop chasing, and then I made lists for people who talk about coins, and then people who are just really talking about Blast and gaming and AI. So I think it helps me keep up with everything,
Yeah.
and not miss out on really great opportunities. But I have to say it's mostly like a team effort with a bunch of friends.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's what I do also on Twitter with lists on art and then yeah, collectors and trying to catch up everything that's happening. Um,
Discord is also great. I have learned
mm,
so much during the bear market. I was spending a lot of time in the wormhole Discord, and I met a bunch of people who just blew my mind. They got me into the a bunch of airdrops that were pretty big, and so and then I learned I got some more tools for trading and some tips, and so yeah, I think it's just a matter of exploring. But like personally, I feel like Discord is a bit too much for me. Um, I
yeah.
just it's so much to manage, and like I don't I don't want to be in front of my computer all day, which is ironic because it's pretty much what I've been doing.
Yeah, and I feel like in my case, Farcaster has also changed things a bit because I mean you can also start now chat there in Farcaster, private chats, and also the channels. The channels have it's not a chat, but it has the Discord vibes that it's very curated into communities. So I feel like that could be you know the channels on Forecaster could shake things a bit when it comes to Discord, but yeah, we'll see.
Agree.
Mm,
I really like the channels. I feel like this is a really strong feature that has been much needed in the NFT community because it's so difficult to find artists
yeah,
based off styles or types of art. If I'm looking for photographers, I don't know where to go on Twitter. It's a nightmare to look for new
yeah,
artists. If you have to follow people who share a lot of artists, or you go on platforms, but then it's not ideal for searching. So I think like this is really what's gonna set Farcaster apart. Like as communities start growing, it's so easy to just go in photo channels or glitch art channels and find
yeah,
new artists. So I think
yeah.
it's really great.
And then there are also trading channels and degen channel, investing that is also business. So it's basically everything, and it's very well curated. So that's fantastic. And what about artists, Joel, that you like or you collect or inspire you?
That's tough. There are so many. I think the main ones are the ones that try to think outside the box and push their creativity. And so for photographers, I want to say
Hmm.
um, Reuben Wu. I He's great, and I think his art. It's kind of tough in the landscape photography niche to set yourself apart. It's very easy to have a similar style as someone else. And I feel like Ruben really would, paved the way to being different, and he's always trying new things and incorporating technology to his art, which I think is very inspiring. And I got to shoot with him in Utah last year, and got to see him in action, and was like, huh, I didn't think about that. And just chatting with him, he loves teaching people and just like sharing knowledge. So um, Ruben inspires me a lot. And then obviously Claire. I think Claire is honestly on another level. She is so smart, and um, I love that she's like really experimenting with those new tools before everyone else, and really dives deep into it and shares knowledge. I think this is why I really like what Claire is doing. Is like she doesn't just keep all this knowledge and
Yeah,
skills to herself. She wants to share it and get other people to explore and be creative with the tools that she's you know discovered. So I think I really vibe with that. I like sharing stuff, and so that speaks to me. And her art is great also.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think I really like what Louis Daisy is doing. He's
Louis Dassy.
yeah, he's from France.
Mhm.
I think he's in Paris. He's a French artist. He makes these like animated photo. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. Like
Well,
motion
I'll look at it, and it will be in the show notes for anybody listening, and also your art and all the things we mentioned will be there. Thanks so much, Joel. It was very interesting, and I think I learned a lot. I now have a list of tools and things to check
great.
out and artists. And yeah, all the best luck with your new project, and good luck moving as well. I know it's a lot of work.
I know
Y-
you. I'm not going to show you my apartment right now. There's like boxes and stuff everywhere. But thank you. It was great. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime, Joel. Thank you.